And once again, hello and welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Mechabellum, playing with Quick Supply Specialist and Marksman. And whenever I do that, I feel like my start is kinda this, but with Orange Man instead of, well, Force Control. I'm going to try to go for the Quad Spider Opener of Doom that beats almost everything. And my opponent, what is he going to pick? I actually don't fully remember. There's Marksman Specialist, and yeah, that is what I'm seeing here. Though the rest of the board is kinda in my favor, a good amount at least. So it's definitely not hopeless or anything. He positions for some aggro. There is Assault Marksman on the Marksman. What else is there to say? Into this, I didn't want to go for the Quad Spider Open of Doom after all. I decided to just get some crawlers. My opponent has deployed 2 units on this side, which I think is fairly unusual. Normally, they are more in favor of just deploying 1 unit on that side. Steel balls are already getting destroyed fairly quickly. This tower, however, is overwhelmed as a result, because all of my crawlers got pulled somewhere else. Though there really isn't a whole lot left. There's like Orange Man, and that's about the extent of things. And 1 steel ball, which is probably going to take a spider out. There go all my spiders. And that means my opponent still takes the win for round number 1 here. Reinforcements, we have Mustangs, we have a Rhino, even a Phoenix or a Wasp here. All solid picks in my opinion. Maybe not the Wasps, there is an amount of fangs that can deal with them. I decided to pick the Rhino here. And just throw that in the flank, because I know that Rhino can definitely get the job done, although realistically it probably would be better at the front where it can start moving in instantly. Other than that, here is the delayed Quad Spider of Doom opener, and some chaff here in order to secure my flank. This should be well enough of a force to deal with my opponent, but we haven't yet seen what he picks. He goes for Phoenixes. I do have Upshoot, however. So where does he put these Phoenixes? Alright, deploys an Arclight and some chaff. And the Phoenix behind the tower. Well, anything else? $100 left in the bank? Attack up. Okay. So all of the chaff gets pulled on this side, which I guess also means that there isn't enough to take my tower this time around. There's gonna be a level 2 Rhino in my opponent's flank next round. Crawlers can't cover the spider. The spider was targeted too quickly by the marksman after all. So that definitely wasn't perfect positioning by me. However, there is nothing really left here. On the other hand, my crawlers are now on the tower. And will get it in due time, but there really isn't a whole lot left by the time that happens. Unfortunately, another spider goes down. But there really is, like, just the Phoenixes, and they get eaten. Now my opponent kinda has to either trust that I sell this or respect it and deploy something here. There even is a missile strike, which I could technically use to snipe that chaff and just, you know, take it. But I took Deployment Specialist, and my opponent took Deployment Specialist. In these early rounds, I think it's actually pretty good. He puts more steel balls down. He doesn't do anything here, so he definitely expects me to sell it, which is true. I sold it. Probably could have taken the missile here and gotten a very cheesy round, but whether that's worth it or not, probably not. I'm going for another flank. I'm putting this here. Unfortunately, I didn't realize at the time, but these Phoenixes kind of get... Or did I check after all? I think I might have checked and found out. I'm getting smarter. Sometimes. I deploy an additional unit of chaff in this flank here, which means that this is probably going to be good against the steel balls that my opponent was trying to run in. And they would have had fairly easy game getting in, but not after all. Some more chaff in the front prevents Orange Man from instantly locking on. And then my opponent does not have enough to deal with the crawlers after all. Meanwhile, this pack of crawlers is kind of taking the steel balls down, which is amazing. My opponent is still stuck on level 2 crawlers, which are absolutely insanely annoying. And I'm already pushing in on Orange Man and the Phoenixes. Level 2 Spider can take a few hits, and the Phoenixes cannot. At the end of the day, this is a pretty massive win, and I'm feeling pretty confident right now. Steel Balls are not yet working out for my opponent, and I'm saying not yet. We even have subsidized Marksman. We could have Absorption Module or Acid Blast. We both picked the Absorption Module. Makes sense. He throws it on the Steel Balls that are, yeah, pretty much guaranteed almost to get to the next level unless they just completely get sniped. I throw that on the Tarantula. In retrospect, I think I wouldn't want to do that. Honestly, just getting the tempo of Acid here and blasting my opponent's units so hard he's already at death's door probably was a better play. I throw a Spider here, and just some Fangs here in order to pull these Phoenixes. My opponent did, however, get attack. And he did also invest into a missile here, which I guess is pretty good, because that is a pack of crawlers that is incredibly annoying to him. Unfortunately, the range and the chaff not in the front means that now basically all of my spiders got insta-locked. And when I say insta-locked, I mean it. That said, the power that I have isn't just the spiders. I still have a good amount of chaff, and my opponent doesn't really have much to get rid of them. These units got cleaned up, but the Tarantula here cleaned up the other units. There isn't really a whole lot left for me, though. The Marksmen aren't going to last for much longer. Steel Ball heals to a very, very decent percentage. Marksman is in front and will snipe one Phoenix, snipe the other Phoenix. Okay, no more upshoot. We do have the tower here falling and the crawlers kind of being eviscerated. It's kind of all up to these last few units. The Steel Ball goes and takes the tower. Crawlers are up to Orange Man. It's going to come down to the last few units. Tarantula kills it, and the Steel Ball is probably enough to take that out. Yeah, the heal is too powerful. Unfortunately, the Assassin Steel Ball strikes again. Still, for a round that my opponent played attack and was missiling, this wasn't really what he was looking for, I'm pretty sure. More Marksman spec. I guess I could go for Absolute Mass Marksman. That probably would have been a good play, but I didn't pick it. I think I skipped as well. My opponent took Speed spec, though. And now we have Replicate on the Crawlers. And a pack of Steel Balls here in this flank. I realize that I need to drop some additional chaff, so that is coming out. I'm not too threatened by the Replicate, I think. I can just invest into like Spider Splash, and then these crawlers are dead. I guess this works well for replication. I also dropped the oil just to slow my opponent down. And now the mines on the spiders can hopefully turn the tide pretty well, because after all my opponent still doesn't have amazing chaff clear here. He also buys oil, and I don't even know what good this does here. I'm gonna be honest. Maybe it just delays some crawlers. Yeah, I really don't think this is it. Steel Balls being slowed. Crawler was really not important in that sense. I guess the spiders have inferior range right now, and that does definitely help. A bit, at least. Mines get in, kill some of these Steel Balls. The marksmen are doing very, very good work here. Finally, these Steel Balls are up to no good. The mines can't get in fast enough, which I guess is my fault here. However, we do have some more units on this side, and they're gonna get a tower fairly quickly. The mine just explodes it, then the marksmen start plinking enemy units down. Under the oil, they have no chance. And the last few fangs can't even really advance at all. Yeah, I'm definitely not sure what this oil here was for. Maybe he expected me to go Vulcan and Scorch or something like that. Speaking of. I'm not even sure what I picked here. I don't really like to play Fortress into Steel Balls. I think of Steel Balls as a bit of a Fortress counter. Unless you have so many Fortresses and so much chaff clear that the Steel Balls just explode. I do decide to drop the Vulcan, but this was still the no Vulcan time. So I sold it. I don't see it against the quote-unquote law to sell a Vulcan here. If my opponent goes for a Vulcan, which he does, he's going to burn all of his own chaff, and I'm kinda in the business of chaff manufacturing. I'm trying to invest more in this flank to hope and maybe try to beat it. My opponent throws a Wraith here, but there is a marksman after all, and I decide to simply drop some more spiders. The question is, can I get rid of this chaff and kill the Wraith before it takes the tower? Because that Wraith is going to blast through all of my crawlers. He drops another one. And puts it here. Okay, so that is another angle that a Wraith is coming in. Replicate crawlers and a Wraith. How do you deal with that properly, I wonder? Alright, all of the chaff is already gone, basically, on this side. This flank here not doing too hot. But also at the same time, like, it is start. You can definitely see what I'm going for. It's just that the suck balls kinda managed to do this. Tower falls, and with that, the mine doesn't get in, doesn't stand a chance against these steel balls and everything else. This round, at least, I kinda get just pulled apart by flanks. I guess this is exactly how my opponent wanted it to go, and unfortunately, he has the Vulcan. This steel ball survives on ultra low health. You can see just a sliver of red here.